we were talking about cultural differences, and at that age, that young age, you are learning, and you know, you're negotiating.
Yes. So to be frank, I was um, quite young when I started working. Okay, so I must have been like 20 or hardly 20 when I started working. I had my colleagues who were to train me in the trade. Were already over 30, 30, 32, 34, much elder to me. So there I was, like usually, if you want to call it, 20-year-old boy who's like just out of college but has managed to learn languages,
True.
is good with, has the gift of the gap, and is able to express himself and has a decent knowledge about the country and other places, was working in the travel trade. So sometimes it was a very, very difficult thing because you would still look at people at face value. You were naive,
Right.
you were young. You would say if somebody is nice to me, you're nice to me, and you would act accordingly. But then the realization cross culturally that people, it's a transactional value for them. For them, it's a tour that they have booked, and what is mentioned on the program is what they are looking at exactly. And changes are not welcome. And even if you were at odds, if you had real trouble reaching a certain place, but you had to, right? Like once I remember I even got caught in Mumbai because I was on my way to the airport to pick up a group, and it was probably one of my first visits or second visit to Mumbai. And instead of taking the car and going 2 hours earlier, I said I will take the local train and get in. And I saw the train moving and I jumped in, and it was a ladies' compartment. I promptly got pulled out by the police, and I said, "See, I've just jumped in. I've just bought the ticket. I could prove that I had just bought the ticket a minute ago." And so they let me go, okay, with a small fine, and said, "Yeah, we believe you've just bought it. You've just jumped onto the train." But on another date, I probably missed out a client who was like, I didn't count the number of people, or or they were like very, very particular about saying, okay, I paid this much, I want to get this. So your comfort was nothing. You were working as a human being, but to them it was just a service being given. So at the same time, I was traveling through different parts of India. You see, and this is where a lot of things, opened up to me, where I saw children working on the fields or in repair shops, or like not being able to afford a education somewhere, where like struggling, much more than I was probably. And so I was exposed to a lot of things thanks to these people who were like acting to me differently. But then I was looking at people who were like probably much less, much more disadvantaged than I was.
Right.
So it's a very different sensibility I possess till date. And I even day before yesterday, when you were at the birthday, okay, and one of my friends said you can speak about it. I said, like, I'm very uncomfortable about speaking about my achievements, and I still am. I'm very uncomfortable about it because I don't consider anything spectacular.
And I think you also don't consider it achieved.
No,
You are
it's
always in the
I'm still getting.
process.
I'm in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
I'm never
Yeah.
stopping.
Yes.
And so for me, everything is the next. My work took me to different places in India, from Rajasthan to maybe to a
Do you
little
have
bit
a
to the
favorite state?
Karnataka.
That's it. Ah,
Karnataka.
nice.
Karnataka was and is my favorite state till date. Nothing has fascinated me. And if I were to uh, pin it down to what it was probably on one of the hills near Shravanbelgola.
That's it.
So, see, those days there were lots of lakes around Shravanbelgola, a lot of beautiful lakes and all that. So, on one fine day, I was driving through with a group at that time, but then I still had time for myself. So, and then I asked the group to do something on their own, and I was on the top of the hill. and started just looking around. And then I realized that these lakes, which were shining with those flowers and everything, were quite out of a book of literature. So I was saying, after the 2 years into travel business, and then the company was splitting in two parts, and we were given the choice saying who joins where. My boss decided to join one part of the company, and those days we had those STD booths. You could not call only from the hotel. You had to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
and make a phone call, and you had some number, and it would
Yes,
tell you
yes.
how much you would pay. So I remember calling my boss from there, my boss, one of the directors of the company, who sat in Delhi, and I said, and as a 23-year-old, or probably just about that, I told him, well, if I join you, I want that branch. I just cheekishly, when I had the cheek to just tell him, I want it that way. I think I'm capable enough to do it. He mustn't have heard it from anybody that age. Okay, for that matter. But I did say that. Now I got it. I had the responsibility to start anew, because suddenly this part of the company didn't have an office. So I was given an apartment with nothing, and I had to get a fax machine, get a telephone, everything organized, which I did
In Chennai.
in Chennai. Okay, we shifted from where we were working. It was a new apartment which was owned by the company, and that's where we shifted. And I didn't have much of staff. I had one office boy who was quite a thief. I realized he was like taking away money from wherever it was. But then these are things that you learn.
Right.
The things that you learn. So that's how I started off, and then I realized, that when there were meetings of managers of companies, they were all 30, 35 plus, and I was like 24 something, with leather gloves and a helmet in hand, and I was there. I was rubbing shoulders with much older people.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a wonderful feeling. Yeah, and I still cherish those days. In the end, it didn't remain that way, because I had an accident where I lost my arm.
So then you had it.
Yeah, so I was still working for them, and then I had my accident, and by yeah, I was lucky enough I didn't die, and so I survived that accident, and then before it could get nasty, saying how would I end up with, and will I be able to work like before and all that, I decided to leave that company. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. I decided to leave the company. That's what I did.
Right.
And then I followed my now wife to Germany, because I was going to see new people. The biggest thing that was difficult for me was I didn't want to see people who knew me like before.
You wanted a new world.
I wanted a new world. I wanted a new start. I wanted a reset button. Okay, which was possible if I was going to leave the country. Just possible if I was going to a place where nobody knew me before.
True.
Okay, and that was probably one of the best things that I could have done. And I did that.
Tell me a little bit about, like, if you look back at that time, how were you sort of getting ready to take off?
Oh, so I would say the way I was getting ready to take off is I was getting more organized. Okay, and in which I would say my spouse has a very important part in it. I wouldn't say everything was known to me. So I was organized, and so that was another learning curve. It was, as an entrepreneur, before you were working for somebody, but now suddenly you were at your own mercy. You had to get your clientele. You had to find how to get them, with pricing, with how would you work
So
on
you
it.
were still bringing tourists from Germany to
Yes, that's what I did all the time. My specialization was always knowing this country more.
Right.
So I knew this country more. I knew what was to be seen here. So I've been in Germany till 2010 for that matter. And in between, I traveled to a lot of different places, Africa, as you mentioned, and got inspired by a lot of different places, the outdoors. And then I came sometime 2004 or around early 2005, came to Bandipur, happened to come to Bandipur. And there was a hotel it was opened, the present day Jungle Lodges. And they had asked us to come and have a look at it for our guests,
Tour.
for to us. So we stopped by, and then it so happened that I again remembered that I used to come to Bandipur years before, and one of the most defining moments of those travel was seeing a pack of 28 wild dogs. Okay, running around in the forest. One of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen, and so that had never left me. And so when I said, "Oh yeah, I used to see this and all that," and then the the memories started coming back again, and I playfully said, "Oh, I would love to be here." And then as playful one is, my wife told me, "Oh, if you can find something, why don't you do it?" So I decided to pursue it, and I was not very sure if it will be fructifying. But I did get a call sometime later, and I said, "No, I will come sometime when I have the time to do so," which I did with a 2-day ticket from Chennai. So I took that train journey, made the train journey, came down to Bandipur, was shot a couple of places, and none of them were good. The next day morning, there was another phone call and said, "No, there's one place which is a little bit further away. Would you like to go and see it?" I said, "Fine, let's have a look at it." And I ended up here on this place here, down the road, which was more of a cart road, wasn't a very proper road at that time. We just came down, and at the temple, which looked also different, walked in, and somehow I just knew this is it. So I looked at my phone. It had signal, and I called Ingrid from there and said, "I can reach you, so it is bought." And here we are after 20 years, sitting here and having this conversation with each other.
Nagesh was already your.
He was my architect in 2009 itself when this place was being built.
So, what kind of briefing did you give Nagesh?
So Nagesh usually see I don't we even today we don't like sit down, and I don't sit down and draw things, but I can imagine a lot of things.
Right.
So I sometimes give briefings which are which are not vague, but out of a dream probably. Like say for example, when you see there is an opening here in the middle of the building. So Nagesh was the view that we should be having a piece of glass there. Close it. I said no, I do not want a piece of glass there, because if I have some opening there, I'll have the cool breeze hit my back while I'm climbing up. And a lot of talking happens among us. Even playful things like like you probably see at our villa in Mysore, where I said I would like to have the bath overlook the road.
You told me.
Yeah, so I still overlook the road. I still have a bath under the shower, and I look over the road.
I think that's one of the special thing, because where I'm staying now in Shaka's Den, the bathroom has frosted glass till a height.
Yeah.
And then you can really see out.
Exactly.
And it's jungle.
Jungle.
Exactly. So you are almost out.
Exactly. So be in the elements. Why
Yes.
hide away from there? You can't shoo away the elements that are there around you. So you might as well be part of it. I got my first pack in 2009.
Just
Shaka
when you
and-
had started.
just when we started. Yeah. So I still remember the date, 8th of Jan 2009 when I got Shaka, and 26th of March when Zulu came in. I still remember it. And then Now we already have the third generation that is born
How did
there.
you settle on this particular breed?
Oh, so there was a um, friend of mine, or an acquaintance, I would say, who was consulting us on the eco-friendly side of this place. This is this is if you read up, the only place in Bandipur forest which is rated ecologically. Others are not.
Acha.
Even though we are the smallest, we are rated ecologically. So there is a audit being done every 3 years on this. Now, there was somebody who was consulting us, and then I ended up asking him. He says, "You should have a dog here. This place calls for a dog." So you had the usual breeds that you thought, okay, I'll have a German Shepherd, I'll have this and all that, a
You never
Doberman.
had pets before.
I never had pets before, so I was only like feeding the stray dogs around the house in Chennai or
Right.
something. That was about it. And then the stray dogs would come while I would come on my bike and greet me. So that was it. But then I asked him what dog he was having. Okay, then he said, "Oh, I have a hound." And I said, "Oh, what is it?" He said, I have a Karwani, an Indian hound." I said, "Why?" And then he had a very, very nice way of saying it. Said, "A hound loves his master." I said, "Every dog does." Then he said, "No, the hound is able to hunt on his own, but then still loves his master." And that is what caught on. And till date, it is the love that the hounds carry for you, because it's not just food. The way they share the bed with us, the way they move around us, the way they reply to you, to your sound, or I have ended up with a broken knee, and have cried in pain on bed, and then as if somebody had told them to calm my nerves. Two of them put their heads onto my each one of my thighs and just slept, just giving me that calm and
Comfort.
peace, saying like comfort, saying it's okay, we're here. I know you're in pain, but we're here. So that's why I still would say a hound loves his master, and or I would say now companion, because master is a very derogatory word,
Hierarchical.
hierarchical word. I don't wish to use
Yeah.
that. Oi, tu kan kau ni ya? Aye, Bikram, aye.
This year, during the rains, I travelled to the Dhol's Den, Bandipur. My generous friend Karthik had extended a warm invitation to visit him. This was not my first visit. In 2009, I visited Bandipur for the first time. The memories are still vivid of cautious driving through the then grovelled road, the magical spooky temple near the waterhole with sacrificed bird legs hanging, the dying light blurring together reality with imagination. We heard the village lore of a single leopard who keeps vigilance from a tree on the nearby hillock. Still remember the suspense laced with fear while we crossed a lone tusker on our way. The elephant had kind of disappeared in the evening light, a silhouette against the dusk, barring slight movements. The adventure was never ending. Here I was again, crossing Mysore, past Gundulupet and the Bandipur forest office, taking a turn towards the village. Much has changed except the stillness and the feeling of suspense the jungle offers. Karthik, I have known him for many years. We met on the veranda of Goethe Institute in Chennai. Seen him as a curious, energetic young man who was full of ideas. Then, and even now, he grew up to be an accomplished entrepreneur, always seeking, always learning, to blend his imagination, his creative ideas with a sound practicality to give shape to his dreams. I believe in his Dole's Den, visitors come again and again to enjoy the environment he has created with Ingrid and his team. I'm always inspired by his never say no to your dream attitude. While we had our conversation, the golden light turned into a purple hue and then into a magical blue. The ranges of Ooty disappeared in the rains and reappeared again as the lights lit up one by one. Then the range stood majestically as a dark silhouette against the starlit sky. The night descended, and I slowly walked to my room at the edge of the property, adjoining the reserve forest.